Okay, so I've wasted my time so you don't have to do this. So I've gone through every edXL A-level maths past paper you can find online. I've looked at every question and I've categorized all of those questions into 46 mini A-level topics and put them all into a spreadsheet. So this is the spreadsheet here. We've got all of the first year topics here. And then as we go down to the black bits, these are all the second year topics and when they come up. Now, I'm just going to go through some important things that I have noticed. And by the way, if you actually want that spreadsheet, I'm sorry to be a bit naughty, but you have to be one of my students to get access to that spreadsheet. So you've got to join my program. Click the link in my bio if you're interested. Now, one big thing that I have noticed from analysing all these questions is that you should not forget the AS topics. So what I mean by that is this. Let's take an example. Let's look at first year binomial expansion, this one here, right? So this very rarely comes up in the second year for A-level papers. It comes up in every AS paper, but it only came up, I think, in the 2020 paper 2 question 4, the first year binomial expansion, right? So it's very rare to get first year binomial expansion questions in your full A-level papers, but don't forget them because it could come up. Now, another good example of that would be sine and cosine rules. So again, it's quite rare to get sine and cosine rule questions in your second year proper A-level papers, but they do come up. So question 8, 2023, it came up. I think question 6, 2019, paper 1, it came up. So the first point is this: please do not forget to do the AS papers in your revision, because these topics sometimes do not appear in the A-level papers, but they could still come up in your A-level papers. So do not forget these AS papers in green. Now, this is a good trick that you can use actually during your real exam period to kind of predict what's going to come up in paper 2 and paper 3, because I have noticed that there are some topics that only seem to come up in one paper, so either paper 1 or paper 2. So for example, circles, I'll show you now. So if we focus on circle equations, so this is all about equations of circles, radii, tangents of circles, all that kind of stuff. So if we look at 2023, it came up question 10, paper 1, 2023, did not come up in paper 2. Came up in paper 1, 2022, not in paper 2. Came up in paper 1, 2021, it did not come up in paper 2. Came up in 2020, paper 1, not in paper 2. So what we can see here is that circles seem to only come up in one of the two pure papers. So if you get a circles question in your paper 1, it's highly unlikely you get a circles question in paper 2. But if you didn't get a circles question in paper 1, you're going to get one in paper 2. However, you do have topics that do seem to come up in both paper 1 and paper 2 that you can't forget about after you've done paper 1. So two great examples of that: proof and vectors, right? So proof does seem to come up in both paper 1 and paper 2, right? Question 14, paper 1, question 15, paper 2. If we look at 2020, question 7, paper 1, question 11, paper 2. So this is a topic, I mean, in 2021, it didn't come up in paper 2, but I mean, in most years, proof comes up in both papers. So you can't just think, oh, I've done paper 1 and I did a proof question, I don't need to worry about proof in paper 2, because it looks like it does come up in both sets of papers. And vectors as well, that's another one. So don't forget vectors, because vectors do seem to come up in both papers, paper 1, paper 2. Again, in 2022, paper 1 and paper 2, vectors came up. So vectors do, for most years, come up in both of the papers. And we can also use this spreadsheet to work out what are the most important topics in the entire syllabus. So for the first year material, your calculus is by far the most important. Differentiation, integration, stationary points, I mean, it comes up virtually in both papers every year. As we said before, proof and vectors is probably certain to come up in both pure papers. Trig identities is a massive one. Again, it's always coming up, trig identities. Modelling, exponentials, logs, that's always coming up. That's a massive topic. And for the second year material, by far the most important topic that comes up for every pure paper you see will be the product, quotient and chain rule. So that comes up like literally every pure paper, as you can see here. And of course, integration too. I've split up the integration into different subcategories, but integration comes up all the time.